Today we are going to talk about how to beat insecurity. Well, it looks like I have a confession to make. You see, the video that I intended on shooting originally was essentially 3 tips on how to overcome your insecurities. In shooting that video, I talked about my own circumstances that led to all my insecurities and the adversity I had to overcome, and it does 2 things. A, it provides context to the 3 tips that I will provide, and also shows you that I can walk the walk. Unfortunately, the video itself just became way too long, so I thought it'd be better just to split the videos into 2. You are watching part 1 of that video, so it's really about my story and all the circumstances that led to my insecurities. I will have a link in the description down below for part 2 once it's published, or I'll have a link in the card above. Until then, guys, enjoy part 1. Cheers. Hey guys, it's Brian back at you with another video where my goal is to mentor you to a rewarding career and to help you create a life you're proud of in that endeavor. Guys, today I'm going to be sharing with you my tips on how to overcome and manage your insecurities. Now, if this is your first time here, welcome and thank you for dropping by. If you like what I have to say today, or if you like my channel, please hit that like button and also hit that subscribe button. It would mean a lot. And of course, if you want mentoring advice, career advice, you can submit your question to me through my website, oneonOnementoring.com, or throw the question down in the comment section below and I'll answer it in a future video just like this one. So you do not want to miss out on that video. So hit that subscribe button. So let's talk a little bit about insecurities. Now, yes, typically they're seen as a weakness, but for me, I find that it's actually a strength. Like I said, I'm a lot different from a lot of the other coaches out there. I don't just read a self-help book. There are these insecurities, these life experiences, this adversity that I had to overcome. And that is what adds this extra layer of advice and strategy and foresight that I then pass on to you guys. And you're going to hear more about that today in this video. And if you like the experiences that I had to overcome and you start seeing the person that's really me and you feel like, yeah, this person's actually resonating with me, or this person actually has the type of perspective and experience that I'd like to get to know more about, go to my website, oneonOnementoring.com. I can help you manage through your insecurities, but I can also give you that expert advice, guidance, the strategic growth plan with regards to your career, with regards to your life development. Otherwise, if you just want more free advice, you can find me on YouTube. Just submit your questions to me and I'll answer it in a video just like this. So let's talk a little bit about my insecurities, in particular my journey, what I had to overcome. I think that's way more important than just spewing out all the things that I think that I'm insecure about. And it also frames the appropriate context. So it shows you what I had to go through and how valuable the tips are as a result. Now, let me be very clear. There's going to be some things that a lot of you guys have experienced that are way beyond what I've had to go through, and vice versa. I'm not trying to victimize myself or anything. It is purely for context. For some of you, you may be thinking, holy crap, Brian went through a lot of stuff. I want to learn more from him. And for others, you may be thinking, it doesn't sound that bad. I don't know what he's harping over. So it's really up to you. I know a lot of people have multiple experiences across the continuum, and I'm not saying that I have more insecurities or more problems or more challenges than you and therefore I'm better than you. It has nothing to do with that. This is purely for context. So let's get started with all the stuff that I had to deal with. All right, the first one being, ever since I can remember, a little baby, 2 years old or so, I've always had the skin condition called eczema, otherwise known in the doctor community as atopic dermatitis. I think it got to the point where it was really bad and there was a combination of both psoriasis and atopic dermatitis, and essentially it's like really, really itchy skin. It develops these really thick patches. The worst part of it all was I had it ever since I was a baby and all the way through my adult life. I still have it to this day, but it's obviously better managed. Throughout high school, throughout grade school, and even young adulthood, I had these really thick patches around my arm, but also around my face. So I think people that suffer from this condition can cover up parts of their body so that no one would ever notice the problem. But when it's on your face, when it's on like your cheeks and your forehead and here by your eyebrows, people definitely notice and people start judging you. They look at you, they see it on your hands. They don't want to touch you, they don't want to talk to you. You experience this through grade school, you experience this through high school. I mean, I remember gym class was the worst because you had to wear shorts and a t-shirt. So now you're exposing your legs, and it was on my legs. And it was just a very, very uncomfortable situation. Unfortunately, gym class was mandatory. And as much as I hated the whole thing, you had to do it. Otherwise, you would fail the course. And kids never wanted to play with you because, you know, you get physical, you'll touch them and they don't want to be touched and all those things. I don't mean to gross you guys out, but I remember having it on my scalp and it would get infected and ooze, and it was just not fun. I don't want to gross you guys out, but it just, again, adds to the context of the situation. And when you're suffering from this condition, it's really hard to sleep because you're scratching all night, or you're suffering from the symptom. You got broken or open wounds, and it's just not a pleasant experience. And you wake up in the middle of the night constantly because you're trying to deal with it. So that was just one thing. Okay, let's go to the second one. Other thing I had to deal with was the fact that I was overweight. I ate a lot growing up, and I was really heavy right from the get-go. I think by the 7th grade, I was around 150 pounds or so. By the 12th grade, I think by senior year in high school, I was up to like 240 pounds. Not only are you suffering from this external condition that people can actually see, I'm also quite heavy, and you're just eating all this food. Cardio is bad, wearing really big clothes. It's hard to find clothes. People judge you again on top of it, and they see you as dirty, and they see you as someone who's actually eating all this food, and you're creating your own problems. Like, they just judge you and start thinking about these things, right? In retrospect, I can see their point of view. I can see how people are judged. It doesn't make it okay, not necessarily, but I don't necessarily hold it against them, if that makes sense. Let's talk about the third thing. Well, because you're overweight, what do all the doctors recommend? They recommend that you lose weight, right? However, there's a problem. I also had asthma, right, as a kid, and it was really bad. I got super wheezy just tying my shoes. I remember waking up in the middle of the night, can't sleep because of all these other conditions, but also having these asthma attacks, if you will. And I remember having to take these inhalers. It would help with the symptoms, but there was always a part of me that felt that it also contributed to the symptoms. The more you use these drugs, the more dependent your body became to it, which is kind of weird, but it was either not breathing at all or getting a little bit, dependent on the drug. And in the middle of the night at 3 in the morning, you want to sleep, you're going to take the drug. So that was kind of the situation, but it made it really hard for me to lose weight. When you're heavy, you're overweight, you've got the skin condition, you can't exercise because now you've got another ailment that's preventing you from doing so. All right, the fourth thing, I'm warning you, it might gross you guys out a little bit, if that's even possible still. And that is, as you can see, I've got a history here of eczema on my skin, which is an inflammatory disease, asthma, which again is an inflammatory disease. So my body is prone to this type of inflammation, type of ailments. And the other one that I got exposed to was allergies of the eyes. I remember it just hitting me one summer, and I was cutting the grass. All of a sudden my eyes just got super itchy, and ever since then, for years on after that, I had a condition called atopic conjunctivitis. Now, if you guys don't know what atopic conjunctivitis is, it's, that pink part inside your eye, like I'm not going to touch it, but that pink part, that got inflamed and thick. So it's kind of like having eczema, where you have the thick skin lesions, but on the pink of your eye. As a result, it's super gritty, itchy, and your eyes become very, very light sensitive. Again, that added to the whole situation. Your eyes are constantly red, they're sore, you're tired. You can medicate it, but it really doesn't solve the problem. It might treat the symptoms a bit, but again, it's hard to sleep, right? Not only do you have the skin condition and the asthma, now I can't sleep because of the eye situation. So your entire day is absolutely miserable. You're fatigued, you're lethargic. Talk about having a life. You didn't have a life. You didn't want to hang out with friends. You didn't want to hang outside in the summertime because the sunlight was way too bright. You didn't want to go out with your friends because you didn't want to expose your skin. You didn't want to show that stuff off. It was really hard to go have fun with people because you're dealing with all this stuff. So when it comes to meeting new friends, when it comes to going to these parties, when it comes to developing your ability to make small talk, to make conversations, to connect with people, it was really difficult. And I didn't have that experience. I couldn't go camping. I couldn't go to these parties. I couldn't meet people. And I didn't have the conventional life of a teenager as a result. Now, I must say I did have a small circle of friends. I may have like 1 or 2 or maybe like 3 or 4 at the max. But you get a sense here of the limitations because of my physical ailments. Those things really stopped you in your tracks to have any headway with regards to confidence, a social network, developing the skill sets you need to have a great life, to have great relationships with people. I mean, that's all part of the experience to create your own identity. My identity were these ailments, were these diseases, and it really sucked. It was about going to the doctors. It was about getting treatment. It was about staying at home and not being exposed or being reminded of all these situations. I mean, going to these family parties, I remember that was the worst because all your aunts, your uncles, your cousins are now judging you, and because they're family, somehow they're allowed to judge you more. Like my parents sometimes would not defend you, right? They wouldn't defend me. They would kind of agree with them. And so it was just a really weird situation. You're just like, what the hell is going on? And to the point where you just shut everything down and just kind of stay to your own. As a result, and I think you guys can understand, there are a lot of insecurities that come out of this, right? Like, I don't know, name one. Lack of confidence, lack of self-esteem, inability to be sociable, to talk to other people, scared to go out. Maybe there's some deep-rooted jealousy or envy of other people that could experience these things, or maybe that jealousy of your friends wanting to hang out with other people, or your family wanting to hang out with other people. I don't think I'm approachable. I can't be a good conversationalist. With regards to having a girlfriend or anything of that nature, that was completely out of the conversation, because I remember even in high school, like girls would like look at you weird and they're disgusted by you essentially. They don't want to touch you because you've got all these physical things that they can see, these problems, and that doesn't look healthy, right? So I'm gonna throw in one more, although I hesitate to do that. You know, maybe more reflective the time that when I was growing up, there was some level of racism throughout school. Some people would have some backhanded comments, you know, chinky eyes or something of that nature. Yeah, they could be joking about it, but it was a reality, and I remember even some teachers would do that. And I say I'm hesitant to talk about this because I think that the world is a way better place now when it comes to this whole racism thing. Yeah, there's a lot more improvement, but I think we've made a lot of headway. Really am reluctant to use the race card because a lot of people piggyback on that and then they play the race card way too much and just victimize themselves way too much. I am throwing this in as additional context, but I'm not going to say it was a huge contributor, but it definitely was there. So you throw that on top of all the other things I just said, and you can really see where the insecurities are rooted from. Also the perfect recipe to really make a bad situation worse for a person. All right guys, enough about me. I have to admit, very awkward. I did several takes for you, and the reason why is just, I don't know, it's weird to talk about yourself like that. You know, I think throughout the years, yeah, it sucked, but I never really put myself as the victim, and I always wanted to find a way to get out of it. And it was that mentality that I think did help me at the end of the day. And so I'm going to reveal 3 tips as to how I did that, and I really want you to take